Hello, everyone. This is Dr. John here. Today, we're going to hit on the topic of depression, some of the emotional aspects, but since it's an important topic, we're going to touch on a few of the other aspects too. Now, with depression, you need to think of it like a symptom versus a diagnosis. Um, there's a variety of ways to have depression, and then there's also emotional aspects connected to the depression. So, if our serotonin and dopamine are low, which are majority of our neurotransmitters are created in the gut, I see it as not that they cause depression, but if you think about fitness training, resistance training, and if someone has done it for a long time, they can handle more weight, and they can resist more weight, and so that they can handle the onslaught of various physical activities coming their way. With depression, if someone has gut infections that are depleting their serotonin and dopamine, or if they already have low dopamine and they're smoking marijuana or doing some aspects of CBD, THC, that might lower it more. And they have less resistance to various happenings and events in their lives or perspectives. And sometimes they go to the negative quicker and they have a harder time getting out because they don't have the stores of dopamine, serotonin, emotional support, various things in their life. So that's a important aspect to think about because sometimes it's the resilience as well, emotional resilience, gut resilience, nutritional resilience that may be another factor for depression. Now, other aspects and emotional aspects of depression is it's almost the body trying to depressurize itself and take life pressure off by just shutting things down. It is almost trying to put you into a deep rest situation, and hoping for you to then get through it at some point and reconnect, make some decisions, restart, and start again from a newer place. That doesn't always happen. We're not always in the environment that allows that to happen, or we're not always in the uh, environment of community that allows it to happen, whether family or others aren't the support that we need. So that's one big aspect. Another is the unexpressed aggressiveness towards ourselves. The constant beating ourselves down and creating that conflict at some point over years, decades, whatever, that may make that inner part of us give up a little bit more and just want to shut down. There's the constant struggle, conflict, which is with a territory. And when we say territory, that's like any potential possession. That could be our identity. That could be a role in life. That could be our path in life. That can be a person that we feel is ours. That could be so many different aspects. That could be our room. That could be our home. Um, and something we identify with us as ours in that conflict of not winning it, or losing it in another way. That can shift into a depression from that feeling of loss, um, feeling unrecognized, and a deep disappointment simultaneously. That can have that 1-2 punch, especially when you don't have that support, or even the support of previous experiences of getting through it. So another thing would be being unable to do anything about what was perceived to be lost. And when I say perceived to be lost, it's sometimes people take the victim stance quick, and then when they hold on to that identity of the victim, they don't even see the other possibilities of maybe something was better, maybe there's still a chance, maybe the curiosity is gone and they are stuck into what was done to me, and then that goes into that victim stance. uh, they tend to be a territorial person, as we talked about, and very affected if aspects of their territory or loss were taken. They don't take losing well, sometimes showing the need for that deep rest to figure things out. State of energy depletion is a big aspect of depression, and it's usually filled with blame of self or judgment or criticism of self and or others. And that takes up a big percentage of the thought and perception pattern moving forward. It is like motivated by that negativity of what's wrong, who did this to me, why is this sucking right now, versus seeing other options. And it's hard to get them out of that when they're so stuck in that, especially if they have gut issues. And also, aspect side note that depression is also an emotion related to the gallbladder. So sometimes gallbladder issues can also be related to depression and vice versa. Uh, then it goes into the lack of interest in life activities, lack of joy. And a lot of this boils down to an aspect of self rejection and loss of connection. And then it has to feel where that root of that is, that root of that self rejection. That can be generational, that can be environments we grew up in, that, hey, maybe we felt rejected by one or more parents or siblings, and then at some point we joined their bandwagon and we rejected ourselves. And that leads to more energy depletion over time. So these are a lot of things which are associated with depression, but at the same point, working on the gut, working on why we feel that self-rejection, and finding things or working with someone to figure out what's so special. And every one of us has something special, and more than one thing special. But sometimes you have to work with somebody to do the support for you, especially if you don't have the adequate support in your current or home environment. So, yes, as well as getting the gut healed, because that's also an important factor. And no one has depression from a chemical, pharmaceutical depletion. Not that it's not needed sometimes, because when some people are severe, they need something to save them. But that's not the fix, that's not the end point. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions or comments, please leave below. And share this with whoever you think might help. And have a blessed day.